1, 2, 3, and we're on.
We're on.
What's going on, bro? How are you?
All right. Good. How are you?
Good, bro. Can't complain. It's Monday, pero I know it has some beers and it'll be better.
You got the Michelob Ultra, the Golf Edition.
Yeah, I just noticed that right now when you said it.
You know where this can came out recently,
No.
or where it debuted at? Super Bowl commercial.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw they had a big Michelob Ultra commercial with a lot of celebrities
With Canelo.
With Canelo, yeah.
Yeah.
And they just made it shine that day.
I know. I just noticed that. It's a nice can.
Yeah.
Salud, bro.
Salud. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming.
Michelob Ultra, if you're watching this, I want to be on a commercial too.
Yeah, with Canelo on the golf cart. Yeah, no, bro, I know you're a busy guy. I'm happy we were able to schedule you in. Or you were schedule us in.
Yes, thank you.
So for everybody that doesn't know you, bro, tell everybody your name and who you are and what you do.
Yes, so my name is Cirenio Jimenez, or CJ Jimenez, more commonly known as. I'm a real estate broker.
Okay.
Recently changed brokerages. I am now officially with Compass.
Yes, I saw that.
In Lincoln Park. Compass is a national company, but I decided to hang my license in the north side of Lincoln Park.
Okay. And so let's start from the beginning, bro. We know you're a realtor now, but let's start from how you got there. Where were you born?
I was born in Chicago, born and raised Northsider.
For real?
Yeah.
Where?
So my parents originally came to this country back in the 80s, and they settled in Wicker Park when it was rough.
No shit. Where did they come from?
From Guerrero.
Oh, from Guerrero. Okay.
Guerrero. Both my parents are from the same rancho.
Yeah.
Met over there. My dad brought my mom here to the States, and that's all she wrote.
No shit. In Wicker Park, was there a lot of people from Guerrero back then, or?
Man, I don't remember honestly. So we grew up exactly at right around North and National Avenue, which is now there's a Hyatt there. There's the Hollywood Grill on the corner.
Yeah, the Hollywood Grill, the hot dog stand, and
hot dog stand.
Have you ever been to Fodega?
I have not been to Fodega. Where's that at?
It's right there. So where the hotel is at, where the Hyatt is at, right next door. It's a little. Do you like pho, or have you had pho before?
No,
I don't know what that is. My bad. I'm talking French over here. So it's it's un caldo, but a Vietnamese caldo, like a noodle.
Okay.
Caldo. It's good. Like, do you like Asian food or no?
A little bit, yeah. I like everything, yeah.
You gotta try it, bro.
Okay.
If you like soups, that's
ramen soups, or
it's like a ramen, but it's not a ramen. People are gonna get mad if I say it, maybe, but I think it's better than ramen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. It's just more soupy. Like it has a really different flavor because it's beef broth, and then it's made like the traditional way. They make it with like it's bone beef broth, but they add like teas and herbs, and they cook it for like days. Like it's not, it's not something that they like cook right away there and then. Like that broth, but they've been making it for a while. So by the time you get it, like it has a shitload of flavor, and then they put the noodles in there and everything else. And Fodega's a spot that sells it, but they say it's really good. And they sell like to-go kits and everything. Yeah, and you make it at home, and it tastes just like if you were eating it there.
I'll check it out next time I'm there.
No, but so you grew up right there. Yeah, the area's changed a lot.
Yeah, way different. A total 180 from when I was there.
How old were you when you left that area?
So I was there till about the 4th grade.
The 4th grade. Okay.
Yeah. I went to that elementary school right there on right off Wabansia and Ashland. Burr Elementary.
Burr. My sister-in-law's kids go there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, now it's a really.
It's
super fancy.
It's a high-end school now.
Yeah. Did your parents buy there, or did they rent back then?
No, rented back then. Yeah. So we used to live on North Avenue. Then a few years later, we moved down to Marshfield.
Okay.
And then
Marshfield on the north side or on the south side?
No, north side. Same, like a block away from.
Oh, okay.
Same, always in Wicker Park.
Okay.
And then after the 4th grade, my dad ended up buying a property in Avondale, which we still have till this day.
Oh, way.
Yeah.
How is Avondale?
Avondale was voted the coolest neighborhood in the United States recently.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. I gotta check
I'm
that
not
out.
just
Though.
saying that because I'm from Avondale, but
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool spot.
Yeah.
It's definitely very up and coming. A lot of nice.
Where's
Cool.
that by?
So right off Diversion, California.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of new breweries coming into the neighborhood. Rock on the river, a lot of cool restaurants,
Yeah. Yeah.
little shops. Everything's changing there as well.
Yeah.
And I have to say that my, the block I'm from is actually $1 million block now. So it's good for the few families that are still left from the original families
Yeah. Yeah.
that were there, because it was all Hispanic at one point. If When I go there now, it's like it's gentrification happening.
Yeah. I used to insure these eran Latinos,
Yeah.
but this had to been like in the early 2000s, like 2002, 2003 maybe. And they lived on Damon, like off of Damon, and like it wasn't like Damon like Chicago Avenue por ahí. And it was barely like you could see like it was being it was gonna start to be gentrified already. And I remember that ese señor had like three multi units on that block, and it was like his, and he bought one for his kid, for his one son and his other son. Y ahí vivían todos, and the señora would be like, man, like, yeah, these people are moving in, they're walking their dogs now, and the
Yeah.
block and everything else. It's the neighborhood's getting kind of weird, and in my head, they're like, man, like this is it, like they're getting gentrified. And back then, it wasn't, like you would see it, but it wasn't as big as it did after the housing market crashed, and then everything started getting gentrified like crazy.
Yeah. Once you see the neighbors start walking with dogs, that's it.
Yeah, the joggers and the walkers.
That's
right?
a wrap for the neighborhood.
Yeah, and it's the So how you grew up? So you went to school around there and everything else?
So I finished my elementary school at Burr. So I
Okay.
graduated from Burr. Then my high school years, I'm a proud alumni of Lane Tech.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was that? So how was it? What was the demographic back then? Like where you were at Burke and then at Lane Tech?
Burr was all Latinos. Yeah.
Was it? Really?
Yeah, it was back in the day. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was all Latinos. Lane Tech was a good. It was diverse. Very good mix of everything.
Oh wow.
And it was a huge school. I mean, it still is, right? I think it's the biggest high school in the state of Illinois. I think close
Really?
to 5,000.
Where's it located?
Students, right off Western and Addison.
Okay.
Right there, right. It says right there, School of Champions.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
on the corner.
Did you play sports when you were in high school? Or?
So when I was in high school, I did wrestling. My 4 years. Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, that was fun. It was
Yeah?
it was definitely a great experience. Taught you a little bit about everything, and how to defend yourself, how to think properly with the mind, and overall, I think it was great exposure. Because in high school you were a jock, right? Wrestlers were very respected in high school.
Oh yeah, and then was it hard to cut weight when you had to cut weight or?
Yeah.
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 What did you wrestle at? What weight?
So freshman year, I started off at 140. By the time I was a senior, I was a 160.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, added about 20 pounds in high school. Yeah.
But it was all muscle, no? Like back then.
It was filling in my frame that I had at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And that's the did you ever go to like state or did you win anything like that with?
No, I didn't make it past city.
Yeah.
So that was the farthest I got there. So I mean, to get down to state, it was you were competing with the suburban kids, and they had like everything at their disposal, right? So it had a little bit more advantage, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they start them young. Like there's
Like
a little
6,
kids.
7.
Yeah. They what others did you play any other sports?
No, that was it. That was
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
They and how were your parents when it came to like your education? Were they like you have to go to school, you have to do good, or were they were just like stay out of trouble or?
For them, I think it was like, hey, go to school, get a diploma, get a degree, go to college. That was what was embedded in us since we were little, and it always stuck, right? I'm not sure what the idea behind that was, right? But for my parents, it was always go to school, go to college, get a degree, like that.
Were you an only like? Do you have brothers and sisters? Or?
So I have a younger brother. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just you and him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How was it being the oldest one? Like,
It was. I mean, I grew up together with my brother. We're only like a year and a half apart.
Oh,
So
okay. So you guys said it.
yeah,
So you guys were grew up
we grew up together.
together.
We did everything together. We
Yeah.
did. As we were kids, we played basketball at the YMCA together.
Yeah.
We did swimming there as well. So yeah, everything that we did it together. We grew up together and
Oh, that's cool.
maintained that relationship.
Nice. Did he wrestle too or no?
I think he tried for a little bit, and then it wasn't for him.
No.
No.
Yeah. They and what did your parents do back then? Like, where did they work? Or?
So my dad, he was right because he's not with us anymore, but
Oh,
he's
sorry.
he's somewhere watching above us, right?
Yeah.
He was a very blue collar, the hardest working man I've ever met. All I can say about him is that he was very dedicated to his family,
Yeah.
very dedicated to his son, my mom, his wife, and I can honestly say he wanted nothing but the best for us, right? And I think
Right.
he overworked himself to provide everything that we had, right? Whether it was in a small rental apartment that we had to eventually us getting our own house, right? But
Yeah.
I have to say that he was the hardest working man I knew. All he knew what to do was to work, like,
Yeah.
and I remember his little spiels, right? Like every day, every other day was like, you got to work hard to be somebody. You got to work hard to do something in this country. You got to be. Everything was work hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so that kind of stuck with me, and I still like remember it very clearly.
Yeah.
So everything that I do, I apply it to.
See.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think like for not saying that third generation don't think like that, but I think like first generation always see that from their parents, and
Yeah.
that's always something that like the more people I talk to, like that's I see the not that I see the difference, but there is like you do see like that's something that they you learn. You have to just work hard.
Yeah.
They maybe don't see that struggles other people, so they don't identify with it. You know what I mean? But
And to answer your question, my dad was a factory worker for
Okay.
had one job his whole time here in this country in
Yeah.
Chicago. He worked 35 years at one factory.
Oh, wow.
It went through a couple name changes, but the original name and I think the last name that it closed off as was Orville Kent. It was a cold salad, like cold food type of factory.
Uh-huh.
They would I think process it there, pack it there, and then ship it out to like the different stores like Jewel, Walmart, or whatever it was, right?
Okay. And then when you were in high school, like, did you have a job? Did you have a job, or did you just go to school?
So when I was in high school, we at the time there was this program called I think it was called like a student career experience program, and
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was my senior year. So they would connect you. I think they would like try to transition that phase, right, where you were exiting high school and trying to like face the real world, right, like get a job, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they helped me get a couple of jobs while I was in high school. Yeah,
Really?
at the end of my junior year or senior year, I don't remember exactly, but
Is that when they would give you credits for like working half a
yeah,
day? Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They had that at my high school for a little bit, but then I don't know what happened. Era yo en burro for la escuela anyways, so like I think maybe that's why they never offered me that thing. But I remember that like you could get a job and you would go to your job like half of the time and the other half was at school.
Yeah. So where'd you go to high school?
Argo
Argo.
Community High School,
Yeah,
like, right here.
right around the corner.
Yeah, right around the corner. Yeah, that's my alma mater. It's the and then so when you left high school, where did you go?
So at the time, like I said, my parents were like, go to college, get a degree, and I ended up going to Southern Illinois University in Carbondale.
Mhm.
Yeah,
How was that?
that was definitely an experience. I'm glad I
Yeah.
did that. Yeah, I'm glad I did that. It was first time leaving home. It was I'm gonna live in a dorm. I thought that was so cool at the time.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, SIU was a well-known school, right? Just to like get out there. I'm not sure how the education ranked at the time, but it was really known for a big party school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How was the transition from going like living in the city to going over there?
Oh, it was a game changer. Like it was the total opposite. Back then, I mean, there was I think cell phones were barely coming out, so we had like
What year was it?
this was back in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the technology wasn't as advanced as it is now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. It was the flip phones,
Yeah.
the Razor.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just different. It was like Carbondale was in the middle of nowhere. I'm not sure how it is now. I haven't been there since like '06, '07.
Okay.
But yeah, it was different, right? It was in the middle of nowhere. Like everything was not conveniently close to like here, like where you can, walk down the street, you find a grocery store,
Yeah.
supermercado, like whatever was, within proximity. Over there was just everything was everywhere.
What did you go or I want to ask you, so did you get a scholarship for school, or how did that go? Or did you take out loans, or
No scholarships. Yeah, I took out some student loans, and
Yeah.
that was the biggest mistake I did in my life.
yeah, that's where I was going with that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, biggest mistake. So whoever's listening to this, don't take out student loans.
Yeah, I preach that a lot, man. It's the did you did you did you take them out for the whole time you were there, or how did it go?
No, I think it was after my first year. I was like, man, how am I gonna pay for school next year? And then
Then you started taking them out.
I started taking them out. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you paid them off yet, or todavía no?
No, not yet. I'm still paying for them.
Yeah, dude, me too. Have you looked into that, like that forgiveness stuff that they had?
I did apply for it.
Yeah. You should look into it. I know a lot of people got forgiven, and they didn't even or they started looking into it, and they found out they had gotten it already erased.
Forgiven.
Yeah.
I did apply for it, and I did get an email back saying, "Hey, we received your application. It's under review, whatever." Right. So
Yeah.
I guess just keep following up with it, right?
Yeah. It's the so how was your first year there? Like being away from home, being on your own. Like did you party a lot, or were you I have to concentrate on school, or how was it?
You know what?
How
It was
did you
my
adapt
first
to
time
it?
away from home, so I the first couple weeks was a little weird. Like it was,
Yeah.
I was definitely homesick for sure.
Yeah.
But then I, started talking to people, started meeting my people that eventually became my friends, right? And
Yeah.
I started getting more familiar with campus and got into a routine, right? So I think once I got that all packed down, then
Yeah.
I felt comfortable. But yeah, no, it was definitely got out there and experienced all the different parties they had out there, from house parties to like they had the little area called the Strip, right in the middle of Carbondale downtown, where you have all the bars and like
I don't think I've ever been there. Now that I think about it, like I'm
Yeah.
thinking of like the colleges I went to go party at.
yeah.
I don't think I ever went to. I don't think I ever went to Southern.
It's a bit of a drive. It's
Is
a 5-hour drive. It's almost at the southern tip of Illinois. So
See, yeah, I don't think I've been there. I went to Champaign. To party, Marquette, Northern. But I'm thinking about Cardinal. I don't think I ever went there. Not now. Well, it's too late now. Pero yeah,
the circumstances won't allow us to go anymore.
yeah. That's over and done with. I wanted to ask you, bro, how was the food when you were growing up on the north side, like compared to now? Now that I'm thinking about that.
You know what? I mean, tacos. I mean, it was definitely in the spotlight because we had La Pasadita and Ashland. I think that was when the Pasadita was the Pasadita. Yeah, like I think they changed the recipe because it doesn't taste the same anymore.
Nah, well, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
How many were there back then, though? Because
it was like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, they still had them like all right there, right next to each
Yeah.
other, right? Which one was the original one, though? The one on the
on the
west side of the
yeah,
street,
on the west
right
side.
there by the alley.
Yeah,
That little one, right?
Yeah, that was
that's
the
the one.
original
That's the only one I used to go to.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the only one left now.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. What other than La Pasadita? What else?
Then they had Guanajuato,
The grocery stores.
the grocery store. Their tacos are still bomb. Like you go there and they still taste the same. This is day one.
Oh yeah, I haven't gone. So since I'm new to the north side, I haven't gone to the Guanajuato, but that is on my list of tacos to go check out.
Yeah.
Because La Pasadita I've gone, bro. They're expensive though, man. Like
Yeah,
they're like $5 or like
They got
$6.
up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're up there. Like I think I ordered like 4 tacos and something else was like $40. I was like, what did I order?
Yeah.
Well, that's another. But other than the Guanajuato, which
you
other?
got Choppers,
Choppers?
Wabansia and Ashland. It's a staple there in Wicker
Really?
Park. Yeah,
Choppers?
yeah.
I'll have to
It's a
check that
burger joint. You got to stop in there. Just when you go in there, just get the chop pack, and you'll be
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
The one we go to is Aji's.
Where's that at?
Aji's on is it Damon? It is. It's Damon and Division, I think, or Division and Chicago Avenue, around there. It's a real little spot. It's like a yellow building. It's Aji's. It's been there. You could tell it's been there forever. And I go there. What's all? But that's probably like the only hot dog stop that I've gone to so far. So Choppers.
Choppers.
Write it down because I'm gonna forget. They and what other spot?
I'm a huge pizza guy, so I'm gonna throw this out there.
Let me see.
The best pizza in Chicago is Pequod's.
Oh, Pequod. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you on that one.
Let me say that again. The best pizza in Chicago is Pequod's.
They you know what? I like it, bro. Like I really really like it. It's the like when people come from out of town, I'll give them like all the regular like they call it bar pizza, which is like the little squares. But like for like deep dish or stuff like that, like I take them there to Pequod's because like that is some of the best.
I've
pizza.
never had any other pizza like that. Like it's just very unique. The taste, like the perfect crust, like I don't know, everything about it is just man. Like
no, yeah, for sure. Pequod's is up there. The only thing is I would always go eat there. I never knew that when you order it to go, no te la cortan unless you ask for it cut.
Yeah.
So like I got home and it was in cut. I was like, what the hell happened here? But yeah, Pequod's for sure. So how was you didn't play any sports in college then?
No. I mean, once you go to college, it's because you're pretty good at something. Right?
Yeah.
At the time, SIU had a really good basketball program, Division One. The men's basketball made the Sweet 16, I think, that year.
Oh no way!
01.
Oh wow! How was that? The celebrations and stuff.
Yeah, that was a cool experience for sure. Yeah. Definitely. Got to experience that March Madness and which is right around the corner, right? So
yeah, it's what is it? Next week, I think it starts.
Yeah.
Do you partake in the brackets or no?
No. I haven't. I don't sit down and watch college basketball like that religiously. Like
I mean, me either, bro. Yeah. But just the brackets, just I think for bragging rights more than anything, I try to fill them out or I try to do my research like a week before.
Yeah.
And see if I could do it. But I've only won once in the brackets. But yeah, that's.
What year was that?
Oh, that was a while back.
Wow.
Yeah, that was like 9 years ago. That's when I had another job and I used to work nights. And honestly, it was just like babysitting data centers.
Yeah.
So we didn't do anything at night. We were just be watching computer screens. So I had a lot of time on my hands. So like I literally would just sat there and just, watch videos and stuff. And that's how I was able to do that. But ahorita ya, that's over with.
It's over.
Yeah. What did you study in college? What was your
so my goal was to become a civil engineer at the time.
Oh, okay.
Cool. So I did. I think my first year I did like gen ed, like just my general studies, and then eventually went that route.
Yeah. How was so what year did you graduate?
So I didn't graduate.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't graduate, but it got really tough for me. Like it was tough. Like, and I guess I can say that at the time I wasn't fully ready and committed for that, so maybe wrong timing. Like,
yeah. Did you get your associates at least, or?
I mean, I wasn't too far off from getting a bachelor's. So yeah, so
okay.
And I always said, I'm gonna go back, and it just never happens if you don't get it done like right then and there. It's not. Yeah, it's
then the student loans and all that other stuff starts kicking in.
It,
yeah, I never finished either. Like I was right to get my bachelor's. Like associate, like credit wise, I guess you could say I had my associates, but my bachelor's nunca lo acabé. But then the same thing, like I was like, I'm not gonna. Just never finished, never went back.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a big deal to finish your college or no? Like now that you've gone through everything.
Yeah. Now that I've gone through life, right?
Yeah.
At the time, I thought it was a big deal. I thought it was a big deal to my parents, and I thought because they wanted me to do it, like I had to do it. And if there's one piece of advice I'm gonna give kids nowadays or the younger generation coming up, and even there's this one kid that I'm mentoring as well. Yeah. And I told them, not him, but just I guess just in general, like you don't have to go to college right after high school. Like it's not for everyone. Yeah. There's other options. A lot of you know what I'm starting to see, like a lot of like regular jobs now, they require like a bachelor's degree, and I'm like, I saw, you know what, I saw it in like an administrative assistant, bachelor's degree required, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Or
Uh,
equivalent work experience. So
right. Yeah, if I could do it all over, I would have just gone to the military for a while.
me too,
Yeah, I would
me
have for
too.
sure.
I would have gone to serve my country.
Yeah, I would. I would. I would. I wanted to, and I wanted to be the good son. You know what I mean? Listen to my parents or get their blessings for everything.
Yeah,
Now I think like I should have just gone. I should have just gone to the military and done my service and then came back. Or
yeah.
if I made it back, you know what I mean? Like come back and and then figure stuff out. I think that's that for sure. 100%, I would have done that.
Yeah, no, I see. I
Yeah.
see the people that went to the military and they did their 4 years at least minimum, right? And they come back and that place builds you strong, right? Like I think it matures you as well.
It does. I feel like you come back more mature, and you'll eventually get to that maturity level, but it takes you a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think that really helps you, really jump starts you instead of you before doing anything, and then come back after the military, and then maybe go to school. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, after you've seen the world or at least done something. You know what I mean? But yeah. So right after, so what did you do when you left college?
So I came back to Chicago and I was like at a point in my life where like, man, what am I gonna do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. Somehow, some way, I got introduced to the world of wireless.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I think that segues right into like my next chapter of my life, where hey,
Uh-huh.
you know what, this didn't work out, but hey, let's try retail sales for a little bit. And
So where did you work? Where did you work on in the wire in the cell phone?
so I started working for T-Mobile,
Okay.
T-Mobile corporate. Uh, my first sales job ever in life. Like I didn't know what to expect. I did not know what I was getting myself into, right? And I was just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
man, at the time, I was like, let me try this out, see where it goes, and like, if it doesn't work out, well, at least I get the experience under my belt, and then move on to another thing, right?
What kind of training do they give you guys?
You know what? I got to tell you that, and I don't know, probably a lot of people are not going to believe me, but people that work for T-Mobile or work for any like big name wireless company, I have to say that the training that T-Mobile gave me back when I started off selling cell phones is the same training I still apply to my real estate career nowadays.
Yeah, bro. Because everybody, like not everybody, but a lot of people that I meet that do like sales and like that do well for themselves, that's where they started
Yeah.
in cell phone in the cell phone business.
Yeah.
And it's like so I figure like it has to be really good training that they give you there, because like they all do well for themselves. You know what I mean? But I feel like it has to be stuff that they teach you then, and that they implement. That you know what I mean, like you say that to this day you still use it.
Yeah.
'Cause-
No, some of the best training I've gotten, like
Yeah.
ever in my life. I had a really good manager that gave me the opportunity at the time.
Uh huh.
His name's Rick Mercedes.
Okay.
He's still with T-Mobile like
Yeah.
till now, and like, man, that guy just I just thought like I absorbed everything from him, like
Yeah.
his selling tactics, the way you would speak to a customer,
Right. Right.
all his training, like everything,
Would
I
they give you
applied
guys scripts, or was it just on the fly learning?
No, we had scripts. We had I think one of the best trainings I took there was how to overcome objection, right? Because even till nowadays we deal with a lot of objection,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for sure. I worked at a car dealership for a month. Like it was, man, it was different than anything I've ever experienced. But in that 1 month, I learned more about sales and everything else than I did working all the years that I worked in sales before that. And I worked in sales before that for like a good 7-8 years. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then yeah, I went to that, and like yeah, like it's just like a boot camp where they're just, and that was a big thing, like where they're trying, don't take no for an answer, and
You-
there's always a way to switch it up.
you know who make the best salespeople, like in life? Car salespeople and cell phone salespeople.
I was about to say, so yeah, for sure, yeah. cell phone people, I feel like, yeah, like the ones that I've met or I've talked to, and that's always on their background. I feel like the car guys end up staying in the car business thing. They like once they're in there, they stay there. But like the cell phone people, like they graduate from cell phone
to banks and then to real estate.
yeah, to real estate loan
Yeah.
officers. It's just everything like bigger sales, I guess, bigger sales.
Bigger sales, yeah.
Yeah. So how was the first month working there? Like what was learning all this sales stuff and everything else?
Yeah, I think it was just a transition period for me. Like I just kind of shadowed like the more experienced sales reps that were there at the time, and yeah, just like with anything else, take notes, be a good observer, like and then you put that into practice yourself, right? So I think my first month was more observing, shadowing somebody.
Did you work while you were in college, or was that your first job, like after school?
So when I was in college, I worked on campus, so I had a job out there.
What did you do?
Man, I forgot. It was some type of admin job in
Oh, okay.
in one of the buildings. Yeah.
All right.
But I think this was the T-Mobile job was like my first like real world like
Yeah.
good paying job.
Yeah.
And they paid well. Like I ended up buying my first house like working at T-Mobile and who would have thought that, right? Like, oh, I'm just selling cell phones. I'm just gonna make like minimum wage. Nah, they pay
good, right?
they
Because
pay great. Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that have like they started there and they're still there, and they like they do well for themselves.
Yeah.
How does how does it work? You get paid per commission on phone, or
So back then it was you got an hourly rate,
Okay.
Which was decent, like
Yeah.
and then you would have your commission, but you would always see that nice big check at the end of the month, right? Like that's the check you were looking forward to. I wasn't looking forward to the hourly check. I was looking forward to the big commission check, and it was like at the time I was like making 3, 4, 5,000 a month
no shit.
commission checks. Yeah, so
that's good. Yeah, that's how it was at the auto sales. It wasn't like the weekly thing. It was all right, but it was at the end of the month if you hit your quotas, then they would give you like a big commission check,
yeah.
like a bonus. And so, how many years did you work for them?
So I worked 5 years for T-Mobile.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I eventually climbed up the ladder a little bit, right? I went from a regular sales rep to a sales leader to an assistant manager. Then I became a store manager.
Okay. Where was your store?
78th and Cicero.
Okay.
Yeah.
By Fort City?
By Fort City.
Yeah. That was a good one then, no?
Yeah, that was a good one. But I got to tell you that my most fun or like where I enjoyed being at was at the malls. I worked at 2 different malls, at North Riverside Mall and Fort City.
Okay.
And like I felt like that built me to who I am today.
Yeah. Any crazy stories? Like
Yeah, just the crowds and like, you're in the middle of the mall, you're trying to bring in business, right? No one's walking into the store, right? It's like different environment, right? Like when you're in the store, you wait for that traffic to walk in. So just you're taking walk-ins. In the mall, you're like
you're in the middle of kiosks.
You're in the middle of a kiosk. You're like, man,
Yeah.
I gotta get these people to come and buy a cell phone from me, right? So you're
Yeah.
out there hustling, like
Right.
like, hey, véngase para acá.
Yeah, I remember those guys. When I used to go to the mall.
Tenemos una promoción, right? Dos por uno or whatever it was, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, or my biggest thing was like, let me see what kind of phone you have. I'm like, oh, you need to upgrade, like, and that's how I would get them. Like, oh, your phone is not that good. Like, let me upgrade you today.
Yeah. That's a good spiel.
Yeah.
Did you ever? So you've always been bilingual, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you feel like that helped you out a lot? Like when you first started in sales?
Yeah, it's always helped me, like,
Yeah.
throughout life, not just in a work environment, but throughout life. It's always good to have it on your resume. It looks good on your resume, and I mean, if you're bilingual, it's just a plus, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like that's the reason I would get hired. Not that I was the best or anything like that. That would help me out a lot. And anything crazy at Fort City when you were there? Because I know that was always the Wild Wild West sometimes.
Yeah. Man, you know what? Just stuff will get randomly stolen all the time,
really?
like from the rack or from like the displays. Like, people would just come in, grab the phone, snap, gone with the phone.
Damn.
So I think once we started seeing that happen too much, we just put dummy phones out on display. So.
Oh, okay. And so after T-Mobile, it was 5 years, and then what did you do after that?
And then I went to Verizon for 5 more years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that transition?
It was, for me, it was like Verizon at the time, or I mean, I don't know, probably still is, but like it was the biggest wireless company name out there. So for me, it was like, hey, I'm going to the best wireless company.
Yeah.
And everything was a lot more professional, more corporate. Like you had, a solid dress code. Like everything was more aligned with what their vision and mission was.
Right. It's I have Verizon and I like it. Like.
Yeah, and the service was great. So like at T-Mobile, I would get like, my calls are dropping. No sirve mi teléfono. Or like, and at Verizon, it was like the complaints we would get, my bill's too high.
Yeah.
So I'd rather get that complaint than like my service sucks.
That's true. I used to, I had, who did I have before that? I had AT&T, and I would just get dropped calls, or I would go into buildings and I couldn't get service. And then someone told me, like, bro, like, stop wasting your time, or stop wasting your money on, you're not saving money, you're losing money, because if you're not getting service, that means that people are calling you. I mean, clients are calling you and you're not getting calls. So would you rather lose the business, or, and you're not paying a little bit more because you're gaining business out of it? And it was true. Once I did that, like, I never had like drop calls or stuff like that. So I always thought I looked at it the wrong way until they told me that. They're like, you need to just, it's gonna be more, but it's gonna be worth it, because you're gonna make more. You're not gonna. Yeah. It's not gonna hurt you.
Less headaches, right?
Yeah, less headaches for sure.
So I'm sure for you, like, if you, I don't know, for your business, right? You miss a call and it could cost you money, right? To miss that call. Yeah,
definitely. Right? Especially like, well, I guess like with Realtor, with everybody. You know what I mean? Like, if people are calling you and they can't get in touch with you, like that's it.
Like, red flag, right? Like, why am I working with this guy, right?
Yeah. So so like, I feel like during COVID, that kind of changed a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it was less seeing people to people. So like, people were calling you constantly, and if you weren't on the phone, or like you weren't on it to get that message, like, I mean, like, yeah, they would just call someone else, because everybody was just sitting by a phone. There was no storefront, no person to person. But yeah, that was definitely a big learning lesson for me on that one.
Yeah.
So which is the best service you have? Best service now, do you think?
Oh, Verizon. I stuck with Verizon service, and it's because their service is the best out there. And like you said, we can't be realtors and have phones dropping calls, right? Or you miss something, and you miss one of those calls, it'll cost you.
Especially for you
money.
Guys, yeah. Especially with like, everybody just hungry. You know what I mean? They're someone's gonna answer the phone.
Yeah,
and quick. So after that, where did you go after Verizon? So
after Verizon is when I made the jump to real estate.
Yeah. How did that happen?
Just a total coincidence of life. Like, I think I was at a point where, I had already been 10 years in the wireless business, and I was kind of like doing some reflecting, and like, man, I can't be selling cell phones for the rest of my life. Right?
How old were you in that?
So this was back in 2017.
Okay.
So at the time I was 34.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 34, and I was like, man, I need a change, but like I said, it was just a total coincidence of life. So one of my best friends, his name is Rudy, and I think he saw me. He saw me. I was struggling. And I was maybe overthinking things, and he was like, "Hey, bro, like, have you ever thought about selling the house?" And I'm like,
"He was a realtor?"
No. Just so he was also somebody that worked at T-Mobile, and then he ended up leaving that business. He got his degree and went into social services. Started working for county.
Okay.
Yeah, so he went in that field, and but he just like, he loves to analyze people. That's his degree in psychology. Yeah. And he's like, man, have you ever thought about selling houses? And I'm like, no. Like, I mean,
psychoanalyzing?
Yeah, psychoanalyzing.
He's like, okay.
Which I'm glad he did, because I mean that really, it was a huge turning point in my life.
Yeah.
And
that's not funny. That's kind of cool.
total coincidence of life. And
Yeah.
he was like, "Hey, have you thought about selling a house?" And I'm like, "Nah, like, why would I be thinking about selling houses?
Yeah.
I'm over here selling cell phones."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Nah, you know what? I think you make a great house salesperson, like a realtor."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Bro, I don't even know. I wouldn't even know the first thing on selling a house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And second, I don't know anyone in the business because I figure you need to know somebody to get into an office."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it, bro. I got you. Like, my compadre, his name is Mark Santoyo. He owns his own Remax office. I'll get you an interview with him, and I'm sure he'll hire you."
Yeah. Yeah.
So sure enough, right, this guy sets up the interview, and I'm over here like, man, let me listen to this guy, see where this is gonna go. Obviously not knowing what to expect, right? And it's all this is brand new to me, but
Right.
I had a nice little 10-degree sales pedigree behind me, right? That's all I really had, and I guess that's all I really needed at the time, right?
Right.
So I went into Mark's office at Remax Loyalty, and he interviews me, and interviewed a second time, and he's like, "You're hired. Like, when can you start, or when can you get licensed?" And I'm like, "I can get licensed like tomorrow." Like,
Have you taken the classes already, or?
no. I have nothing. I didn't even have any idea that he had to take classes and go through the whole.
Oh yeah. So you're like, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow.
So he's I was like, I can start tomorrow, like. So I go. He's like, "You know what? You got to take your real estate classes. I'll sign you up. I'll pay for them.
Yeah.
You got to get licensed though."
Oh, well, that was cool. He paid.
Yeah. So yeah, Mark Santoyo, man, a big blessing in my life, man. That guy did a lot for me, and to this day, like, I even told him last week, "Hey, whatever you need me to do, man, I'll drop what I'm doing. I'll come over here and do it for you." I owe that guy a lot.
They So what do? You just quit Verizon and went to the class, or?
Yeah. Pretty much, I quit Verizon. Like, I was like, I didn't give a shit. I was already, I guess, mentally checked out of that place.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you know what? Let me just go ahead and do my classes, but I need 100% focus. Like, when I commit to something, like, just me personally.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna give you 100%. I'm gonna give you 200%. So I was like, I'm gonna quit Verizon. I'm gonna go take this class, pass the exam, do what I got to do so I can get licensed. So I put all my efforts into that, and I did the rapid course for the real estate course, which was I finished it in 2 weeks.
So how does that one work? Is that the
Monday through Friday, 9 to 5?
9 to 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
In 2 weeks, you're done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So instead of doing the 8-week course, which was, I think, 3 days a week, like 5 to 9, 5 to 8, I think it was in the evening.
Okay.
Yeah. So got that out of the way. Went to go take my state exam, right? I was like, man, I'm fucking confident as fuck. I'm going to go pass this test on my first try.
Yeah.
So I go in there, I'm like, boom, 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 right? Like just checking off answers like it was like nothing. Like
Yeah.
And they give you the results right on the spot, right?
Yeah.
So first try, I go in there. I was done like quick. Like I thought I had it like in the bag. Guess what I got?
79.
A 50%.
Oh.
A 50%.
Yeah.
And then I was like, damn, shit. I you know what? Maybe I took this lighter than I thought I should have.
Yeah.
So went back, did a little bit more refreshing, and I think 2 days later I was back at the same facility, took my exam again.
What is the passing percentage?
At the time it was 75.
Oh, is it 75?
I think it's 70 now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They gave him a 5% leeway now.
Yeah.
But it was
I think the insurance one is 80, but it might be 72 now that I think about it. So the second time you passed?
No. So I went in there again, like very confident, right?
What did you tell Mark at this time? Like, did you tell him you had failed the twice?
So the first time I did call, hey, I didn't pass. He's like, just go back in there and take it again, like nothing. So I did. I went 2 days later. I brushed up on my notes again.
Yeah.
Went in there 2 days later and I took it again, and I felt good again about my performance, and I get my results. 73, and I was like, I took it really hard that time. I was like, I asked myself, man, am I that stupid? I can't pass this test.
Yeah.
But no, it's just the way the exam is built. For me, it's the toughest exam I've taken in life. Like, it's no joke.
And they And at this time, you weren't working at Verizon anymore.
No, so I was
No.
like, I need to start making money like ASAP. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so then I called Mark on the phone and I was like, hey, Mark, I didn't pass.
Uh huh.
He's like, all right, don't worry about it. I'm gonna go ahead and buy this program for you. It's called Exam Smart.
Okay. For
Yeah, and I did that for like, I kid you not, less than 2 days.
Uh huh.
I did Exam Smart, and I was like, man, these answers are all easy. Like, is it that easy or what? What's I wasn't figuring out where the disconnect was at.
Yeah.
So I did the Exam Smart. Went back. So I took my 3 tries in like less than a week.
Uh huh.
I went on the back on the 6th day, and I took the exam again.
Yeah.
And I coasted through it, and I passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I passed on the 3rd try.
Nice. Do they tell you your score? Or they just say pass.
No, it just says pass.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Okay. Yeah. That's the thing.
I felt I got like a 90 on that one.
For 98.
90.
No way. So and then that was it.
And then that was it. And I called Mark. I'm like, I passed. So he's like, congratulations. All right. So you remember all that? He tells me, right? You remember all that stuff you learned in class?
Yeah. So
Throw it out the window. You're never gonna use it
again. I've heard that before. And so then all right. So then so you get your license, and then how's your first day?
So my first day, man, I still remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
So I went into the office. So Mark tells me, he calls me again, or I call him, and he's like, hey, you know what? Just go into the office tomorrow. We'll get you settled in, and we'll go from there, right? So the next day I go to the office. I go in there, like a newbie. I didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know what to expect, right? So I get there, I check in with the front desk person, and she's like, I think I sat down in like one of the booths right there by the office, and she was like, you can go to Mark's office, right? And I'm like, oh no, I'll just wait till he gets here, like. And then I got a call or a text, and he's like, oh, you know what? I'm on vacation, and my other team member Diana's on vacation too, so. But yeah, just get comfortable in my office. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So at the time, the transaction coordinator, Nicole, she was the one that was like helping me out. Like, she's like, hey, we're gonna get started. Like, I'm gonna teach you how to write a contract, how to read a contract, like do all the paperwork aspect of a real estate transaction.
Yeah, yeah.
And we did that for like 2 weeks. So like eventually Mark and Diana got back from vacation.
Yeah.
And then he gets back and he's like, all right, we're going to start selling houses.
So by this time, at this time you still hadn't.
No sales. So
no sales. So it was already what, 6 weeks? Or?
It was already maybe like 4 or 5 weeks into it. And I was like, man, when am I going to start selling? I want to start making money, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're there to make money, right?
Yeah.
And no, there was a process to it. We started training with Mark. We started following, a book that they have, to train a realtor. Started doing role playing, started doing script phone calls, and a lot of scripts in real estate.
Yeah, yeah.
And until I finally got it to the T where Mark started telling me I was sounding too robotic. He's like, keep it natural, just keep a natural conversation. But I did this with you, so you learned the script, and it stuck with me. Like,
yeah.
So then I was doing script with no script. I was just doing script naturally.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you before your first sale or your first?
Almost 3 months.
3 months.
Almost 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you buyer or seller on that one?
I was a buyer's agent. My first year, I learned the whole buy side. Yeah.
Yeah. Which one? So I talked to a lot of realtors, but I've never asked them, like, which one would you prefer to be, a buyer or a seller's agent?
Me, once I started learning the selling side, I was like, oh, I'm gonna stay on this side, the seller side. Yeah.
Is there a reason why? Because like I've noticed that you're either or. You're not, like, I don't see a lot of them that are like both all the time.
So last year I was 50-50.
Yeah.
50% of my deals were sellers, 50% were buyers.
Uh-huh.
But for me, I think it's just a passion about going to a seller, and you're basically interviewing for a job, right? Because they're interviewing you to sell their house.
Yeah.
But you don't know how many other agents they're interviewing.
Right.
And for me, like, I do my research, I do my homework on the property. Hey, this is what it's gonna sell for, right? And I can guarantee you, I'm gonna sell this for you within 2 days. So my last seller I had, Uh, last week, right?
Uh-huh.
A couple weeks before that, I went to his house. I'm like, hey, let me, first thing we're gonna do, let me take a tour of the property. Let me see, let me see its features. Let me see what it has, what it doesn't have. Let me give you my recommendations that I would make to make this property sell for top dollar.
Yeah, yeah.
So I go there. He gives me a tour, and I'm like, you know what? I can sell this place in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? Like he's looked at me all confused. He's like, what? Like 2 days? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Like you know what? I'm gonna put this. I gave him a list of things to do. Right? He needed to do little cosmetic stuff here and there.
Yeah.
Get this done. I'm gonna come in with my marketing team. We're gonna shoot the house for photo, for floor plans, and I'm gonna list it on the market Thursday. I'm gonna start showing it Saturday, and by Sunday, I'm gonna have multiple offers for you.
Okay, okay.
And guess what happened?
Yeah.
I list the house Thursday. I started showing it Friday, and we had multiple offers by Saturday night.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. So he was just like impressed. Like
Yeah.
he was like, "Wow, you weren't bullshitting." Of course, I wasn't bullshitting. I do this for a living.
Yeah. And like at that time, like when you have people like there, is it like, and I'm just going by like what I see on HD TV, but it's the like, is there a lot of times where you sell the house faster than what they expect, and now they're like, well, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Now.
So you got to prep them for that, right?
Yeah.
So I told them, hey, you know what? This process it's gonna go by pretty fast. So by the time we have a contract and you sign off on it, you're gonna need to find a place within 30 days.
Yeah.
So what are you looking to do? What's your plan after this?
Right.
Are we looking to buy another property because I can help you buy that property, or are you looking to rent? He's like, you know what? I'm gonna stay at my brother's for a little bit, so and kind of see from there what we're gonna do, right? But my goal as a salesman, right, is we're gonna go find you a place to buy, right?
Yeah.
So I got that in his head, right? You got to be out of here by 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
So by March 29th, we're gonna close. March 28th, this house needs to be completely empty, vacant, ready to go.
Yeah. Okay.
So you plant that seed in them. That's what we got to do.
They all right. So after your first sale, like how did your first year in real estate go?
I think it went well. I think I overexceeded my own expectations for sure. I think I went on a hot roll, and I felt like I was only dealing with the buyers. And by month 6 or month 7 into my real estate career, I was like, I'm ready to work with sellers.
How many deals did you have like in your first 6 months?
In my first 6 months, I probably had around 11 or 12 deals.
Oh wow,
already.
that's real good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How were the rates? Were the rates still not that low back then?
This was back in 2018, so they were fair, right? I mean, they were maybe in the high 4s, maybe.
Yeah. Oh wow, so that's real good. What did Mark tell you when he saw you? Were your numbers like were they noticing that you were doing good? Or?
I think so. Yeah. I was definitely noticing, and I think once you get acclimated with the real estate environment, you kind of know where you kind of rank between even your colleagues, right? So I was like, man, I'm kicking ass. I'm pretty good. Yeah. But again, it came back to like I gotta say, like my T-Mobile training, like it helped me a lot, like to transition. It was an easy transition for me.
Yeah.
I know other agents struggle, and they're like, man, I can't. It takes them maybe a year to like kick off.
Yeah. Well, I've seen where like it takes them a while, and they're at that point where they're gonna give up, and then all of a sudden they kept with it, and then boom,
take off. Yeah,
they take off. What do you think's well, let's go back to that. So then it's your first year still. Then you transition into sellers, or you're.
Yeah. So my first year, I did work on a team. I was on Mark's team. I fulfilled my 1-year contract with him, and then I took off on my own. That's where I started, branding myself. The Not Your Average Realtor part came out. We designed a logo for the CJ Jimenez team, and from that point, I just started like.
How important do you think it is to be able to identify yourself or make yourself stand out from everybody else like that? Like I see that with a lot of teams where they're like, how could I put it? To not just be like the realtor that works for Remax or the realtor that works for this company, but to be your own identity. How important do you think that is in real estate, and how,
Yeah, no, it's very important. I mean, it's I mean, real estate, I think, is all about image, is all about the way you portray and carry yourself. And you have something you want people to remember. You put your face together with your brand.
Right.
And if people see that, I think you make yourself shine, you make yourself stand out.
Yeah.
And even till nowadays, it's been 5 years later, and like people know me. You're not your average realtor. Like, oh, this is not average. Like,
Yeah.
I get that all the time.
Where did you come up with that, or how did you come up with that?
So I didn't come up with it. I'm gonna give full credit to my previous colleague Diana.
Okay.
She overheard me one time when I was on the phone. I was doing cold calling, right? And you know me, I just carry myself very confidently, even on the phone.
Yeah.
And I was making this phone call, and I was like, "Hey, I forgot how the conversation was going, but the client was like, I think I was trying to book an appointment with this person, and I was like, hey, we're ready to help you out with your home buying process. All it takes for you to come in, and we'll get you set up here."
Yeah.
And he's like, so what's gonna make you different from the other realtor? And I'm like, well, I'm not your average realtor, so that's what's gonna make me different.
Yeah.
And I just said it like totally casually, and Diana overheard me. Like, I don't think I had caught it myself, but Diana caught it, and she like, after I hung up with the client,
Yeah.
she's like, "Did you just say you're not your average realtor?" And I'm like, "I guess I did," and it just stuck with me since then.
They So how do you guys do cold calling? Like, so I hear people say it all the time, or they're gonna do like a power hour, stuff like that. So like, without giving out too many secrets, where do you get those numbers? Are they cold leads, or you guys like
So
just call people?
so at the time it was through lead generation system.
Okay.
Whatever you pay for, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it could be like a Zillow or Redfin. It could be any type of system that's generating leads. You pay for them, and then you just get those, right? You get those numbers. You get that person's contact information. It could be like, people just browsing on the web. They click on your website. That's a lead that's coming in, right?
Yeah.
At the time, it was just going off of CRM. That CRM hadn't been touched in a while, so I was just going down the list of the.
You were just farming the leads?
Yeah, whatever was there, I was just like, hey, let me call it. And
Yeah.
and people don't realize how strong or how much of the power of a phone call or a phone. Like, people don't realize how powerful a phone call is until
Yeah.
you're on either side of the conversation, right?
Right. How do you usually start it? Like, when you call them, like, they're like, "Hey, this is me. This is my name."
So I'll just follow script. How like, hey, this is CJ Jimenez with so and so company.
Yeah.
I see you, or you're interested in this property, 123 Elm Street, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, how'd you know?" And I'm like, "Well, I got I got your information, and you try to pitch it, right? Like, hey, like, try to get something in their head, like, hey, you know what? I see that you're interested in this property. I can, I'm a realtor. I can help you out with those services.
Right.
And then I kind of just go straight in. Are you looking to buy this property cash or finance? And then there's like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
And then they answer, right? Because you give them two options, right? Cash or finance. 99% of the time they're gonna say what? Finance.
Right.
So then you say finance. They say finance, and I'm like, okay, great. Well, have you spoken to a lender? Do you have a pre-approval letter by any chance? 99% of the time, they're going to say, no, I don't, right?
Yeah.
I haven't talked to a lender. I don't have a pre-approval. Well, that's great. I mean, perfect. I
have a lender that I work with.
You just happen to be fortunate enough to to talk to me. That I have some great lenders that I work with in the area, and I would love to set an appointment with you tomorrow. And I look at my phone, I'm like, does Wednesday at 12 p.m. work for you?
Yeah.
You don't give them an option. You just tell them, hey, this is what it's gonna be.
So yeah, that's a big thing. Like, I know, like, sales, and lately I've been seeing a lot of like videos on like kids, like on like parenting, and like, that's a big thing where it's like, you don't ask them, you give them options, and they have to answer one way or another, so they have to think about it. So they're not thinking about saying no. They're thinking about, like, all right, he gave me these two options. These are the two options I have. Like, rara la vez that they're gonna like, oh no, wait. You know what I mean? Like, unless I feel like unless you've worked in sales, you have no idea what's going on when you're having these conversations. I like since I work in sales, I guess you could say like when people call or they do the cold calls, like it's gonna sound like a dick move, but I'll listen to them, but just because I want to hear their sales pitch, not because I'm gonna like I already know I'm not gonna buy anything, and then I'll just be like, oh yeah, or I'll say something because I want to hear their script sometimes. But so it's the so your second year then, how did that go? Because your second year is what, 2018 or 2019?
2019, yeah, 2019. That was my second full year. So I started working more on the listing side, and I realized that real estate was not an easy business, right? So I mean, I pretty much started from scratch, right? My CRM had 0 contacts in there, right? So you had to slowly start building from within your circle of influence,
right?
I got out there. I started networking. I started, meeting different people that can possibly lead me into avenues where I can dissect into the real estate part of the business. And, and I think that's how I got out there. My first year by myself, like I just started putting myself out there, going out to events, putting my face and my brand everywhere.
Yeah.
I started doing the bus benches as well. So I just started plastering my face all over Chicago.
How effective are the bus benches? Because I see everybody on the bus benches.
They're not effective.
No?
No. It's more for brand awareness.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, because like I learned that the hard way that there's a difference between marketing and brand awareness. And so brand awareness is more.
Yeah. So guess how many calls I got? So I did the bench contract for a year. And within that year, how many phone calls do you think I got from benches?
2.
One.
I did I've never done bench presses, but the benches, but I've done the churches, the church thing, and I got
the newsletter or like
the newsletter, like the weekly newsletter.
How was that?
I got one.
Yeah,
and I had it for like a year and a little bit over a year. And then I called the lady. I'm like, and she was a super nice lady. She was a sales pitch lady, man. Because I was like, I just want one church. I ended up getting like
the church, right?
I ended up getting like 5 churches. Like esa señora really got me. And then it's but yeah, I literally only got one, maybe like 2 calls out of the whole time for the churches. And even then, when I went to cancel it, like she made me feel horrible for canceling. But like, I'm not getting anything out of it.
What did she say? This is Jesus's money or not?
Yeah, she's like, but it goes to somebody goes to church and this and that and blah blah, and But at the end of the day, that's what it was. It was brand awareness. It wasn't that. I didn't have any brand awareness. No one knew what my brand was to begin with. You know what I mean? Because I had barely started. So for me, it was like, no, this is not gonna work. And I figured like, for me, networking was a huge thing, and it still is. I haven't done as much as I used to, but I have to get back on it. I know that for a fact. But I feel like the money that I was spending on that, if I could spend that money on networking, I would get way more stuff out of it. So that was why I stopped.
Yeah,
that one. So second year is when you started advertising hard.
Yeah, I started. I think that was the year I spent the most on marketing. Yeah, out of my entire career. This past year was the year that I spent the least in marketing.
Yeah. It's and do you think it was money well spent? Like, did you see
I think I needed it.
A good return on investment on that one.
Probably not a good return, but it was more like I said. You got your face out there. You got your name out there.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it was cool that people say, "Oh, I saw you at the bus bench. Oh, you're all over the city." Like, I mean, sure, that was cool, but at the end of the day, you're looking for that return on investment, which it wasn't there, but at least people got to know, hey, this guy's serious about what he's doing, right? Like, he's putting himself out there.
And then the third year is 2020. And how was
the COVID year?
The COVID year. How was that?
That was rough. Like,
yeah.
That was rough. That was a year I was actually doing a rehab as well.
Oh wow.
So, yeah. So I got into the rehab part of the business, and I was everything was going good, and then all of a sudden, city shuts down, right? A lot of places started shutting down. Even the state shut us down as realtors. We couldn't do showings for, I believe it was 3 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah, because that was when the virtual stuff.
Yeah. you were doing virtual showings, I think it was, and
Yeah.
some weird, crazy stuff that I don't know if
Yeah,
it'll ever happen again.
those were interesting times. I used to I went to work at the office all the time because nobody was at the office, so I was like, I'll just go work at the office because really didn't like at that time I didn't have a setup at home or nowhere to really work at home.
Yeah.
So I would just go to the office. Honestly, those were probably I don't think I've gotten out of chill mode from COVID yet. Like I really like, yeah, because I would really go in jogging pants, shorts, flip flops, and just work, and nobody was there.
No dress code, right?
No dress code, no anything, and then
Probably show up in PJs and you'd be cool, right?
yeah, for sure. And then we would grill a lot. We would just grill and just after that, whoever was at the office, we just hang out because there was nowhere to go, nothing to do. It was it was a surreal time. How was COVID for you when those?
Yeah, it was definitely weird, right? Like
Yeah.
like I said, I was working on that rehab, so since the business slowed down, right, for realtors, a lot of realtors, right?
Right.
So I was really focusing on finishing up that rehab, and I'm like, man, I gotta sell this bad boy, right? Because I don't know how these times are gonna turn out, right?
Yeah.
So I rushed through that rehab. And then things started like opening up, right?
Right.
Things started opening up, and then I was like, man, I'm gonna have to sell this because I was thinking of holding it for a little bit,
Okay.
but I was like, man, let me just get rid of it, cash out, because I don't know how this market's gonna turn out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what ended up happening after that?
Yeah. The market shot up. Well, the rates went down, and then
Rates went down and the market went hot, and I was
Yeah.
like, shit, like if I would have held on to this property a few more months, like I would have made an extra like 30-40K out of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I no, yeah, definitely. But like, what did you like? Did you invest right away into another property, or what did you do?
No, because I mean things were very uncertain, so I
Yeah.
wasn't sure where the market was going in. So I was like,
Right.
I kind of see what the government's doing here with the rates, like just try to get
Yeah, the economy back.
economy back up, business booming back up, and I was like, let me not take big risks right now and just kind of be conservative.
Right.
But I ended up what I ended up doing is capitalizing on the hot market, right? So buyers were buying, sellers were selling. Got crazy, right? People were paying like 50K over list price, right, out of
Yeah.
pocket, and I was like, what the?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, like it was a crazy time. I remember watching like everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere prices were going. up.
Everywhere. And I was working 7 days a week, so
Yeah.
I was like, let me just cash in on this crazy time, and sure enough, like I said, everybody was buying, everybody was selling, and it was a very nice time to be on the seller side because we were getting multiple offers in less than 24 hours, crazy amount of money over asking price.
Yeah. What do you think now? Like, and not to say anything about any end of the new realtors, but how do you think it was like let's say you were a new realtor at that time when the market was hot and everything else, and everybody was making money because basically it was just you couldn't miss at that time because of how hot it was, and now that rates are going back up and things are changing now, do you think it's gonna be harder for like some of those people to in the industry?
Yeah, so I think that at that time when the market was high, like we had a lot of younger realtors coming to the business, and for the same reason. I mean, I don't blame them. Like they were trying to cash in right at the hot time.
Right.
And then what ended up happening is that the minimum age requirement dropped down to 18. So you started seeing some really young kids.
Is it 18?
It's 18 now. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's 18. So, but I don't know if that'll ever happen again, right? Maybe it might happen maybe like 50 years from now, right? Or maybe some.
Yeah, people are waiting for the rates to come down. It's like they're not gonna come down, bro. Like unless we have another catastrophe, like they're never gonna be that low again. Not for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that the younger agents or the newer agents, right, got into the business. I think they realized soon after that hey, this is the reality now, right? I mean, it's
Right.
it's not 24 hours or less you get a contract. It's not even 2 days or less you get a contract, right? You got to show houses to people, and the list side is not going to be as easy. Where I want to sell, let's sign. You know, it's not, it
Right,
doesn't work
right.
as easy like that anymore.
Yeah. Um, so then right after COVID, when it got hot and everything else, then where how was that time for you in the business?
Yeah, you know, it was a good time. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, I ended up capitalizing on the moment as well. I think everybody made money, right? From me to you, right?
Right.
Lenders, everyone, right? Even
Yeah.
a lot of people were flipping at the time too, right? So you know,
Have you done any more flips or
I have not.
no?
I think, yeah, this is just me personally. I think my,
Yeah.
my opinion right now is to invest on rental income producing properties.
Yeah.
So buy
For
a
sure.
couple multi units, hold on to them because you know what, rents are super high right now, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, I see that a lot right now. People aren't. I used to do a lot of insurance for rehabbers, and I don't see that as much as I see more right now. Multi units coming up, or people asking for multi unit insurance. So I think yeah, the market is definitely transitioning into that. Um, and then so I have a couple questions for you, bro. Questions that I ask
Sure.
everybody. Este, one, bro, you're a sharp dresser.
Oh,
I
thank
see
you.
you all the time. You always have suits and everything else. Without giving out your secrets, where do you buy your suits, or who tailors your suits, or how do you do it?
So some of my suits are custom. The guy is not in business anymore, so
No,
I can't say the name of the company anymore. But great guy. You know, I met him through the business
yeah,
as well, and I saw his work, and I saw. So I mean, a little side story. I'm a huge boxing guy, so I love boxing. I love
okay,
watching boxing every Saturday.
yeah, yeah,
I'm a regular attendee at Canelo fights, so
okay,
that's why I was saying Michelob Ultra, get me on a commercial.
yeah, yeah,
um, but I saw this guy. He was tailoring suits for like name boxers like
yeah,
Jesse Vargas, um, even the local guys around here,
yeah,
and I was like even like Jose Shorty Torres, the mixed martial arts
right, right,
fighter.
right,
And I was like, man, I want this guy to suit me up too. So,
yeah, yeah,
so he did a few of my suits,
okay,
and ever since, I just get my suits from a big name store and just tailor them down to my size,
okay,
and they look like they're tailored.
yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
was curious about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then my fiance, of course, she loves dressing me as well. So
Oh,
I
really?
got to give her credit too.
Oh, okay.
she's she's big into fashion. So
Nice. And then, well, your other question we talked about earlier about food, but you live on the south side now, right?
I live in Garfield Ridge now. Yes,
Okay.
I had a compromise with the wife. She's a South Sider, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and prices for I guess for like a forever home in the North Side it's a little high right now. So
Yeah, for sure.
so
Are they ever gonna go down over there or no?
no, they're not. No,
For sure, right?
No,
No.
never gonna go
Yeah, I
down.
know.
So I was like, you know what, we'll compromise in Garfield Ridge. It's a great neighborhood. You know,
Yeah, it's super nice.
It's a lot of our city workers live here. A lot of my neighbors are cops, firefighters, city
Yeah.
employees. And you know what? At the end of the day, I feel safe when I go to work, and the wife and the baby stay at home, and they can go around their walks and whatever.
How long have you been there?
So I'll be a year next month.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have you tried Abby's pizza?
I have.
No.
No.
You sounded disappointed.
I'm a big pizza guy, so I went down Archer and tried all the spots on Archer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, you know, like which one did you? What did you get at Abby's?
It's
Or
just a regular,
Just regular thin crust?
yeah, thin crust, sausage, pepperoni. That's my favorite go-to
Yeah.
combo on a
So
pizza.
what pizza do you like over here?
So my favorite Garfield Ridge pizza is Triano's.
Triano's,
Yeah.
really? That's interesting.
Yeah, Triano's.
Triano's is good. So we used to get growing up around here, like Summit has had pizzerias, but we haven't had like a stable one in a long time. There's Chester's next door. Maybe, you gotta check it out. If you like
Yeah.
pepperoni sausage, you'll like it. It's a small pizza, but I think it's good. But growing up, Triano's or Abby's. Triano's usually because it was a little bit cheaper and it was bigger pizzas. So
Yeah.
we get but Triano's a lot. Yeah, Triano's. But yeah, those are the two right there in that area. Other than that, there's
Yeah, I kid you not. I tried every spot on Archer, and like Triano's
Really?
was the one. Yeah,
For the bar I order Vince's a lot. Vince's on 63rd. People like it.
6:30 and what?
63rd, like right passing Narragansett. There's like 3 or 4 pizzerias that are decent. They're okay. Vince's, I think for price, taste, and everything, Vince's is probably the best around there. There's Stunad's, which is right before Narragansett. After Narragansett, Vince's, and then I don't know if you ever seen what's his name? He's a realtor downtown. Matt Larcy.
Matt Larcy. Yeah.
Matt Larcy. His dad has a real estate
Shout
office.
out to Matt Larcy.
Yeah, his dad has a real estate office right there, and there's a little pizzeria in that strip mall. There's one right there, and I think one across the street. I've had all of those. The one that I like the most is Vince's, but Vince's kind of like Avi's a little bit, so you might not. But Triano's, yeah, si te la paso.
Yeah.
How about tacos over here?
No.
No.
No. What's a good taco spot in Garfield Ridge?
There isn't any.
No, right?
No, honestly, like tacos around here, but you have to go more into the city.
Yeah.
Like they're decent. They're not bad. Don't get me wrong. Like Los Comales is good. Like on a drunk night, any of these places are decent tacos. El Patron is not that bad. The one right there on Archer, it's decent. But yeah, but for good tacos, you still have to go into the city.
I don't know. I think it's a little subpar decent for me. Like,
You know what? I think it's Tio Luis's tacos. I think it's Tio Luis. Those are good. Those are decent. Those are good. Like on Pulaski, you'll find a lot of good places like Zacatacos.
Yeah. West Lawn is like they got all the spots over there.
Yeah. But over here, tacos is a little for that standard of what you're looking for, like pasadita and all that.
Yeah.
Like where it's like that constantly. I think it's a little bit harder to find.
So if anyone wants to open a quality taco place,
Bro, my
Garfield Ridge.
My guy from Totonilco, I tell him all the time. I tell Oscar, I'm like, bro, Berwyn, or you have to open up something over here. I'm like,
yeah, we need it. Yeah, we need it.
Yeah, not dissing any taquerias in Berwyn, but like there's restaurants in Berwyn, but like a fast food taqueria, like there isn't any over here. There isn't, like there's not like one good, like really good spot. You have like the burritos. There's a lot of burrito spots over here, but it's because this was still predominantly güeros, you know what I mean? So that's why the Mexican food over here is different than when you go into the neighborhoods. You know? So that's the biggest
Americanized
thing
over here, right? Like tacos.
Yeah. So another question I ask everybody: what would a young you in growing up? What advice would you give yourself growing up before high school?
Go back. A great question. Yeah. I would definitely say, do what you think is best for yourself. Like, don't. Everybody's gonna always give you their opinion. Everybody's gonna suggest something, right? But at the end of the day, and that's something that I've learned as I've come through life, right? Nobody's gonna look out for yourself like yourself. So
yeah.
And even till now, like I wish I wish I would have done things a little bit different, right? I wish my parents weren't so like excessively focused on me going to school or college. Like,
right.
At the end of the day, you're gonna be a great human being whether you accomplish going through school, whether you have a degree, whether you don't have a degree. It's really up to the person, right? Him or herself.
Right.
Versus whatever accolades you accomplish.
Yeah. No, that's good advice. No, yeah. Definitely. I feel like for first generation stuff like that, your parents just want they always want to give you what they might have not been able to do. I mean, I feel that's why the education for a lot of people when they come here and they're raising their kids, like that's a big thing for them. Like, try to give you the best education. But as we know now, like one student loans really fucks that up. Cause like I feel like my kid, if I could pay for his college, that's one thing. If he finishes college and he does, like that's totally different when he graduates because he doesn't have those student loans. Mm-hmm. So for him, if he gets a decent paying job, that's already money that he's using to accumulate and to do stuff with instead of graduating school, having to pay student loans and trying to figure stuff out. I mean, like that's a whole different it's a whole different way of doing things. Sorry, the jukebox always turns on during podcasts, and I lowered the volume. I don't even know why you could hear it. But yeah, definitely, I think yeah, college is good. It helps you learn stuff or teaches you how to learn. But if you don't have to go like trade, I would have gone to the military and second choice gotten to trade school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I wanted to be a welder.
Really?
Yeah, like that was something that I really contemplated years later. Where I was like, you know what, let me learn how to weld, because I feel like that's one of those like lost arts that eventually we're not gonna have people that weld, because you know what I mean, like
because all these kids want to be YouTubers, right?
yeah, they want to be YouTuber, TikTokers, podcasters. But yeah, so yeah, bro. Nah, for sure. That's good advice. Well, on that note, bro, thank you for coming. Hope to have you on again one day.
Thank you for having me. We've been talking about this for a while, right? Like,
I know we have, right?
Yeah, we have.
Dude. Going back to COVID really messed things up for me. Like when it came to the podcast stuff, like I had a really cool lineup coming, and like everybody just got scared of, you know, like interacting or not interacting, but like being in close locations together. So like, and I get it. You know what I mean? So, but this year I was like, you know what? This year I'm gonna do it again. Oh, and one last thing. So I've been asking everybody this year, since this is the year of Jordan. So like, do you have like a fond memory of Jordan, or was he not? Don't tell me you're a LeBron fan.
No. I grew up in the 90s idolizing Jordan, right? I mean, I think for me, like, he's the biggest like icon, right?
Yeah,
out of Chicago. No, I mean, what he accomplished as a player, like, I mean, I don't think no one's gonna be able to touch that for a long time.
Yeah.
And back then, you know what? There were no super teams like these teams that they were built around him. Was, you know, they weren't getting like millions of dollars, right? They wanted to be here because they wanted to be here. They wanted to win championships, and yeah, definitely like my biggest, you know, memory, definitely that 91. The 91 first championship, right?
Yeah. How was it where you were living when it happened?
Man, it was so I was still in Wicker Park, right? It was rough, like people just shooting guns like crazy. Yeah, all the way to the 98, right, championship, right? Like that was the flu game, right?
Right, yeah.
So like these the younger
let me check that, bro, because if not, people are gonna be like, oh, that wasn't the year. It's but I'm not sure it was. So you were saying? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was it was against the Jazz. But like a lot of these younger, and I don't know, maybe it's just a generation, but these younger NBA players,
97,
97, okay. 97. The younger players, they're not gonna play through anything like that, right? We're not gonna see that anymore. Like we're not gonna see that. We're not gonna see that hustle. Like,
dude, it's because before, like, they would play, and like now it's all about getting fouls and like, you know, like like crying about stuff. And the sad part is that like even now you see kids playing basketball, and like they'll call like foul, and you're like, bro, like we're not playing in a, you guys aren't playing with a ref or anything.
It's not an
like,
official game.
Yeah, it's not an official game, bro. Like I'm gonna check you with an elbow or something. Like yeah. But that's what they see, so that's what they that's what they make. You know what I mean? So hopefully something happens there where it changes. But yeah, that is something different that I don't think. Yeah, you'll never see that again where they used to play rough.
I just saw a stat the other day, I think like yesterday or the day before, where so, you know, there's 82 NBA games in a season, right? Back in the 90s, right, or maybe early 2000s, even when Tim Duncan was like still playing in the league.
Yeah.
They had it was a high number, right? How many players had played the full 82 games in a season?
Yeah.
So like in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think there was over close to 100 players still played the full 82 games.
Really?
Every game of the season. I think last year, they, guess how many players played the full 82 games of the season?
I don't know how many. What was the percentage? Or was it?
It was you can count them.
Really? That's how low?
It was five.
Holy
players
shit.
played the full 82 games of this season.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. And then I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but there's like my whole theory is too like the way everything like the way they do everything from like they work out to maybe their diets to just or maybe it's just that they just for everything they just no quieren jugar.
Yeah, just the work ethic, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's not that old school mentality, work ethic anymore. Like our
Yeah.
parents like embedded on us, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure. With that note, bro, thank you again, and for sure I want to get you back on. I want to do like a panel one, so I want you to
yeah,
for sure be on the panel, a panel
let's do
podcast,
it.
and let's do it. All right, cool. Salud.
Salud, Michelob Ultra. How long did we go?